So the heat bed cable has finally given up the ghost. I think it was caused by me heating the bed to 80 degrees C. It was in the cards, on the cards anyway, but yeah, it's finally gone. So I'm going to see if I can fix it. What I'm going to do is probably take this black sheath off around here, down the other end as well. Just take all of this off, make sure this cable where it normally bends. There's a little bit of damage there as well. I think that might have been where it initially, when I first got the printer, it was touching this, which gets very hot. So yeah, I'm going to pare back the sheath, see what damage the cable is, see whether I can fix the cable. Maybe I've got a woven cable sheath to put over it to see whether the other cables are damaged, and then see whether I can fix it. So let's have a go. So I've taken the sheath off, and it was the live line that had actually burnt through completely, exactly where it was kinked because of the constant slinging of the bed backwards and forwards. So I've just neatened off the ends of those, with the idea being that we can solder those two together. Unfortunately, during the removing of the sheath, I accidentally cut the other end here. So I'm going to do the same here. Other than that, the cable appears undamaged, and without the sheath on, it's actually, I think it's silicone cable, so it's quite flexible, as you can see. So without the without this inflexible plastic sheath, which just, you can imagine it's eventually kinked, and it's caused a kink in the cable, and then eventually, under probably some load, heating it to 80 degrees C, it's caused a problem. So what I'll do is I'll solder those. I've got some heat shrink cable which I'll put over first, solder those two together, heat shrink over that one, do the same with this end, and then I have some of this it's woven sheathing that I'm going to try and put in. What I'm actually going to do is open up the base of the unit, see where that goes, see how far that goes, because I had to cut this back a little bit. Now the black cable, the ground, the neutral, sorry, the negative, is slightly different length to the positive. So I'm wondering whether I can just get access to a little bit of slack that's inside the machine. Maybe feed this so it starts there, tape it around that, and then feed it all the way in. So let's see how that goes. So as you can see, the cable comes into the machine, it comes across to the end of the power supply where the sheathing ends, and then the 5 cables, the positive, the negative, the earth, and the 2 sensor cables come over. They go into the positive and the negative of the bed coupling there. The sensor comes in here, so I can take the hot glue off and unplug that. I can undo the yellow one, which is the earth, which is just connected onto the main board, unfeed all of that back out, and then solder these two together with some heat shrink cable, and then cover it with that woven cable. It'd probably be easier to kind of to solder this stuff if I take it all out as well, so I can just work with the bed rather than having to try and do it all, you know, kind of still plugged in. So that's probably the best thing to do. That's what I plan on doing. So that's the next task. So here's the cable and the heat bed, and so I've got it all off, got it all disconnected from the machine. Plan is actually to take this off and then put the sheath over. I was in 2 minds about whether to just leave this short section on, but now because these, well, I've had to cut the one that burnt out and I accidentally cut that one. I just want the cables to be able to move independently rather than being forced to kind of stay together by a sheath. So there wasn't much slack, to be honest, but I still think I'm going to take that off, put the woven sheath over, anchor it that end, allow the stuff to come into underside of the machine, and it's also a bit easier to solder now, so I'll get rid of that. Let's see what happens. I know for next time it probably would have been easier if I'd have taken the whole thing out of the machine first. I was trying to avoid that. Now I've got a little bit more manoeuvrability. I can do this without accidentally cutting the cable back there when I tried to remove the final bit of sheathing. So anybody looking to do the same thing, that would be my recommendation. A bit longer, but if you unconnect all of this, you can unfeed it from the machine, and then you can just work with the cable directly. So worth knowing for the future. So the cable's been fixed. As you can see around the back here, I've got this woven cable that's now making it quite flexible. So hopefully there'll be no kinking of the cable and further burning out. It's all connected back up. And as you can see, I'm just heating it up to 80 degrees C as a test. That's all looking good. And then the cable there, oh, I feel the bed's warming up, nice and toasty. No heat from the cable, still feeling pretty good. So next I've got to just level the bed and stuff, because obviously I'll take all the bits off and put it all back together. We'll see how we get on.